Today we are talking about the Pergear 25mm F1.7, currently testing it on my T4. It's all manual, so there'll be no jumping out of frame testing or the focus. I'm using peaking just to try and keep myself close to focus. It's F1.7 with an ND on, so it is rather tricky, and I'm doing this on my own. We're going to crack this thing open, see what's what. It is a tiny cheapo. So, you know, it is what it is, hopefully, or until it isn't. Anyway, I'm going to get out of a random play, put it through its paces, and then have my little waffle. And then most importantly, it will be over to you. So, yeah, that is that. Can I focus pull this thing? This is an absolute mission. There we go. Well, that'll kind of do. Yeah, let's crack on. Oh. Do love these bags, and it's always a very pleasant surprise that at this low end of the market they're including it. I mean, look at that, really impressive. This thing is tiny, it's so small, my word. Well, there we go, Pergear logo, clicked aperturing, but it's the smoothest clicks ever. Very quiet. 1.7 to 22. Not sure about the steps, but interesting one. That is such a weird click. Very quiet. And we've got a 20 centimeter to infinity, just off infinity there, and you can see the lens moving in and out. Little snap cap there, of course. It's so small. 37mm filter thread, 25mm, so on our APS-C body that is a 37.5mm full frame equivalent. Quite a decent focal length, to be fair. Angle of view 57.4. there are, interestingly, 10 diaphragm blades, 7 elements, 5 groups, and that's about it. No weather sealing, of course. Weighs 165 grams. Let me just pop it on the T3. I'm testing with the T4, but just for size reference, although we'll throw in some B-roll later with the T4, but that is dead small. I mean, if that bit was black, it'd be even more discreet, but I suppose it does look pretty cool like that. Yeah, nice. But how does it fare? Right, let's crack on with the testing, or carry on, I should say. After some use, I'm not overly convinced by the handling. I mean, I love tiny lenses, but you might struggle to operate this one on the go, you know, out and about street stuff, if you've got particularly big hands or it's cold, you got gloves and that. I mean, the focus ring, it's good, basically, but the aperturing, it ended up being a bit disappointing, as the clicks are so soft on mine that it's not always easy to keep track of what aperture you're stopping down to when you're shooting on the go, as we said, out in the streets, you know, when things are a little bit more hectic, you know, unless you're constantly looking at lens, which again in that situation isn't practical. I also wish my lens came with the hood that other people got, but we'll mention that at the end. The lens does feel well built though, and yeah, again, I actually love the compact, actually compact size, not internet compact. I mean, look at it. Sharpness wide open is pretty good, but the whole image quality changes completely once you start stopping down. Obviously, most lenses do that, but this one by 5.6 is at its peak, and it's like a totally different lens. So 5.6 forcing me to say it performs pretty well for the price. Clearly, contrast and edges suffer wide open. Color rendering is just okay. So, you know, some will call those obvious flaws character, and I get that, and I think I've already done that too many times in this video. Now, vignetting, also noticeable wide open. There's no escape. Chromatic aberration, though, is very minimal. Sun stars aren't bad at all. Now, as my lens didn't come with a hood, flare is a problem wide open in my case. Ideally, get a hood, and even then, be careful. Finally, bokeh is pretty decent, all things considered, and especially in video shooting, I found it quite pleasing. What do you think about the image quality? A lot of us are into adapting vintage lenses to use on our modern cameras and giving them a fresh lease of life. But as much as I love doing that, this is just natively much smaller on the camera. So at around 60 to 80 pounds, depending where and when you buy it, I think it's worth it if you're into tiny gear. I would recommend asking your seller if it comes with the lens hood though. It was never going to be about the image quality per se, rather a tiny, cheap lens with a nice bag for low budget shooters, or just somebody that wants to try something different, to slow down, to think more, and perhaps be challenged a little for, in the camera world, very little money. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you there.